Hey guys, how's it going? So today I've got a beautiful trailer load of plants that we're going to be planting in the pond area. I wanted to start here in the shade because, as you know, the pond area at the moment is full sun. We've planted lots of things in that area though that will create a beautiful large canopy because I'm hoping it's just like this shaded cozy spot, kind of like the feeling in our fireplace area. You know how that, and I'm going to walk over there because I want to give you an update over here as well. But it's got this very tucked in kind of feel, and that's what I want for the pond area in the end. Here's a look at what we've got. Some gorgeous things, a couple of evergreens, an ornamental grass, a Russian sage, and a lilac called Pocahontas. These are all things I had setting out the day that we did our initial planting around the pond, but that was such a whirlwind. We got such a huge amount done, and I didn't want to take too much advantage of the crew that was here. I thought, let's get the bone structure stuff in and then let's just call it. It was hot. They had been working all day. So I thought, you know, we'll just go in later and plug these things in as we have the opportunity to do that. This might be the best angle, maybe to see the color, but this is a Pacific blue Macedonian pine. Isn't that beautiful? It's got kind of a bicolor needle, very soft. It'll grow about 25 feet tall and 15 feet wide. So you do want to put this somewhere where it's going to have the room to spread out and stay in a sunny location while doing so. I was reading up on this variety and it says this, and this was one of the ones from Isley Nursery. It was saying that it has very good needle persistence, like multi-year needle persistence, which I'm not sure if this is what it means, but typically, especially the blue pines, anything with a blue cast like this, they needle cast really bad. Every single like early spring where you have to go in and clean a bunch of needles out of the center. Our Vanderwolf pines are the worst. They're a gorgeous evergreen and we still plant them, but they do needle cast, which, you know, the needles just turn brown and it makes the tree look a little bit messy. So I'm guessing that needle persistence means that they don't cast as bad. Now, I don't know that for sure. Zone 4, if I didn't already mention it. But I thought this one would look just especially good hugging the back of one of the big boulders maybe. And then we've got an Angel Falls white pine, eastern white pine. Isn't that interesting? It says that the growth size varies based on culture. So, you know, based on if it likes it or not, if it's getting full sun like it needs. This one has kind of that blue-green, but then also like a chartreuse toward the center. So it's got a very different look and definitely a different growth habit. Also, a good one to tuck behind a rock, I think, because if we don't continue to stake it, it will take on a very different structure. It won't go upright anymore. It'll turn and it'll start growing to the sides. And this one I do believe is hardy to zone 3 and it grows like over a foot a year, which is kind of cool. That's pretty fast. For our grass, these are going to be such a pleasure to plant. Look how little those cans are. I love that. I'm going to groom them up a little bit. This is a Blackhawks Andropogon, big blue stem. So this one grows like 4 to 5 feet tall, 1 to 2 feet wide. I love the way it looks like it belongs in like a meadowy situation or around a pond. I love the little red accent that it gives, and then it does get, I don't know if you can see that on the tag, but it does get some real pretty seed heads. The thing I do like about this one is that it can handle part shade. So if we put this in a location where eventually one of the trees will shade it a little bit, we'll be okay there. You know, as opposed to the evergreens, you'll want to put those somewhere where they stay in the sun. But this one is a zone 4 through 9 and it does not want excessive moisture. So it's not something like in nature that you would find growing right up next to a pond. It's more like for, well, drier areas. I kind of envision dry meadowy areas, which I want that whole area to feel sort of mountain-y. That's why I'm not choosing to put any formal sort of plants in there, and that's why we didn't put the roses in that I brought out the other day. No boxwoods will be going in that area. And this is a cool one. This is called Crazy Blue Russian Sage. It stays small, like 16 to 18 inches tall and probably just about as wide. So it's just a little accent. Again, it's got a little bit of a wild, meadowy appearance to it, not very structured, but will provide some nice soft color through the middle summer through the rest of the year. And then the Pocahontas lilac, I just wanted to make sure to have some spring color in there. And this one grows, I think, like 10 by 10. I'm noticing that the tag's gone, so we'll have to pop a picture up on the screen. But they're just a really easy care shrub for us. They actually prefer a high pH soil, so anything that prefers high pH is really good. Ranks really high in my books. So that's what we've got for plants, but now I wanted to give you a little update on our brick patio area because we do have some things that were just finished in this space. Here's a backed up look at it. It's really coming along. It's tidied up quite a lot. You'll see that more than half of the boxwoods are planted at this point. We've got 8 more over there. We still got some plants to move. I figured this late in the season, we may as well wait another month for me to move these Lady Gardner David Austin roses. And we'll plant the boxwoods this fall when it's not so hot, because I'd really like to try to save those. So you can see the boxwood hedge that we planted last year. It stops there, and then we planted these right here just to create, like, you won't see the brick walkway eventually, not clearly. And then over here, what's going to happen, because we had to do kind of a jog back with the boxwoods to make the square formation around this patio make sense, we are going to be bringing out a flower bed. So it'll start about where the arbor is, and it will swoop around and connect to this one. So this one will be a much larger flower bed, and there will be a couple of stepping stones through the flower bed leading you to this gate, which we had replicated from one over there. We just wanted an extra way to get in here, like a quicker way, just in case you didn't want to have to go, you know, up the brick sidewalk and over. So this just opens. There's a metal fabricator in town that did this, did a beautiful job. Let me show you the original. I got to do some plantings to hide all of this stuff right here, and we still have yet to put a few stepping stones, but that's the original gate that was here. And the fireplace area, you guys, this is what I'm talking about for the pond. I want it to feel like this just wonderful little secluded oasis back there by the water. Anyway, so this gate was here when we moved in. You could hardly see it because of all the big privet hedges around in this area. So we took this whole gate down, and they just made us a copy for that area there, and I love that little bit of cohesion. So we've got boxwoods here and here, and eventually we'll have them on that side. Those are the roses I was talking about. I just want to give them a minute so we don't lose them, but we'll continue on in our opening over here. We'll mirror this one, and the boxwoods will come over here as well. But it's just looking so nice. We also have 4 pots on order, 4 great big ones. They're like the ones by the corner of the Hartley, but one size bigger. So they will go in each one of these corners, just to kind of frame in the space. And then right here, look at this. You might remember that this whole flower bed, it was like this type of rock all the way to where the brick walkway or the brick patio was, the old brick patio. So we just cut away a little bit, and I wanted to be very careful about this tree because this was planted who knows when in this area, and with this soil being sort of higher, I didn't want to run into roots, and they only ran into one, and they didn't cut it. They actually molded the boxwood roots around the root. So hopefully the boxwood is okay, and that's the reason why we did our wall very thin. It's not really a weight-bearing wall. Nobody walks here. There's not a tremendous amount of water that goes on. You can see I need to do some hosta grooming. Anyway, so those are just buried in the ground quite a distance, so there is some strength there, but I wanted to be able to continue the boxwood hedge right back here. And then the look from this side, you know, the flower bed will come out like this, which will make more sense as to why this isn't 100% balanced with the boxwoods. It was just a really interesting area to try to marry. You know, the actual entrance that we use a ton, but we also go this way a whole bunch. I don't know. I really like how it turned out. And you can see the kids love it too. They go around and around and around and down the brick sidewalks and stuff almost every single night. And from this angle, what will happen is we will continue on with the rock wall wherever it makes sense, about right here. And then all of these stones are going to go, and we'll probably use them when we put in another pondless water feature. And then we're gonna do the stack stone wall to mirror what we've got up there. But isn't this a pretty view right here? Oh, I love it. Okay, so now we're gonna take this trailer load out to the pond and get these in the ground. So when we're all done, I'll give you a tour and we'll just kind of talk through placement and all of that. All right guys, I found a spot for everything out here and I love where they all ended up. And I have to say, even though it is a 100-degree day today, so it's pretty hot out here, it is an absolute pleasure to be out here planting near running water. It's such a peaceful spot. And I think I'm turning the corner possibly to boulders in my garden. They've just added a tremendous amount of structure and weight. I mean, literally and visually to this space. Oh, it's just so much fun to garden in a new sort of terrain, really. So I put the Russian sage, the 3 right here, and I'm trying not to group everything. Like I want some singles and stuff around here too, because I don't want it to look too contrived, I guess. So the other one ended up tucked right here, kind of in this little notch, and then the other one we'll get to here in a second. But in larger spaces, it does look good to group some things. So like the Joe Pye weed, I've got a few things, some grasses here and there that I've bunched together for effect. If you just did one thing here and there all over this whole space, it would look like a complete mess in the end. So I do want to do some grouping, but be mindful of some specimens and more of a natural way of planting. So as we walk in, you can see the Angel Falls pine, and I think that that is perfection right there. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I'm kind of hoping that I may leave it staked up this high because I do like that height, but I'm kind of hoping to train it to kind of go this way. Maybe a little bit that way as well. But that texture right there is just beautiful. And then I put 4 of the Black Hawk grasses. I cannot remember the botanical name. Can't even pronounce it, so it doesn't really matter. But Black Hawk's there, and then there's a little grouping of 3 behind that big boulder, kind of up a little way. So we'll kind of have a little bit of a cohesive look right here. And there's the other Russian sage tucked in right by the iris. Oh, so pretty. Now you guys see that orange tint to the water? We think it could possibly be because of this stump. So Greg was saying that wood sometimes has, is it tannins? I don't know. And we sunk that. That's sitting in water so that we could plant in the center, because you know the center of that stump is open. I don't know if you can see the hole on top, but it goes straight down, and we thought, well, we could pack some soil in there and then the water would wick up. Well, sometimes when you've got wood sitting right in the water, it'll leach out that color, which, you know, it could be that, maybe not. We're just going to give it some time because this pond, I mean, it's an ecosystem and it takes a while to kind of establish itself. So we're going to have a little bit of algae. We're going to have some discoloration just because when the water hits the wood or hits the rocks, and it's going to take a little bit to kind of balance itself. But everything is doing really well. Anyway, the other 2 plants, let me pop down here to the driveway. I put that Pacific blue pine right there. And you know, those are some Arctic fire dogwoods. There's quite a bit of flower bed right behind it that will need to be planted before the walkway starts. And then we'll be planting up the front area here as well. But that'll be a big, beautiful piece right there, as well as the lilac right back in there. I've got, you know, a blue spruce. There's a Zelkova that has a 10-foot, I think it's a 10 or 12-foot spread. And then another Norway. So this 10 by 10 lilac will be gorgeous tucked in right there. And a look from this side, this is right where the walkway will come out. And that's about the center of the walkway will go around. So then we'll have this whole area here to plant up. In fact, I could probably do another large-ish shrub right in here. Oh my goodness, it feels good to stand in the shade. I think that is going to be it for today. We can't get too ahead of ourselves when it's so hot with all the planting because one, it really isn't like the best time of year to be planting stuff. As long as you keep things watered, we find that things do okay, but we have to take time to run drip to everything. That has to be priority because if we let it go even a day, it can severely take a plant back or kill it. Just due to the lack of water. I did water these in super deep with a hose, so at least I bought myself some time there, but we want to get right on the drip. There's also some spots where the mulch has already kind of worked its way off the top of the drip, so drip tubing, so we'll want to go in and thicken that up in some spots. But anyway, I'm really happy with how this area is coming along. Oh my goodness. But you guys, our forecast is looking so great. Our 10-day doesn't show any more days in the hundreds. There's a couple in the high 90s, but the rest are low 90s, high 80s. I do think we might have a pretty good windstorm here, not tomorrow, but the next day. Whenever the forecast shows a drop of 10 degrees from one day to the next, I usually kind of plan on there being quite a bit of wind. So I'll need to keep my eye on all of these freshly planted things to make sure we don't have to do any staking. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just gonna have so much fun bringing you guys along for this whole space, just showing you how it comes together. I'm just enjoying it so much. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.